Yes, one of the great things about having this job is meeting some super cool people. And my next guest is one of them. They call him the gay leadership dude. I wonder why. Let's find out. Come on in, Steve. Hi,
Oh,
Steve.
hello, Amber. How are you?
I'm doing well. So it's Dr. Steve Yacovelli, correct?
Very well said. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much. So why in the heck would someone call you the gay leadership dude?
Because I am the gay leadership dude. If you notice on my thing, it's circle R. So I have the trademark. I'm the only one in this country.
now, did you give yourself that name, or did
I,
someone say, "Ooh"?
No, I did. Actually, when I was writing my latest book, Pride Leadership, my publisher said, you need some sort of brand thing. And so I was thinking about it, and I'm like, well, let's do the gay leadership dude, because you immediately know three things about me: that I'm gay, that I self-identify as a dude, and I like to talk about leadership. So it makes the intros that much easier.
All right, we'll get into your book, but let's work up to the book. Now, what led you to do this book and become the gay leadership dude?
So I've been doing consulting in some way, shape, or form for all my career. So it's been 3 years, which has been amazing. No, it's been like 25 years. I have good lighting. But like I've worked internally as a leadership consultant at Disney, at IBM, and Tupperware brands, and then I went out on my own back in 2008, which was a phenomenal time to start a business. But I've always been part of helping people be better and more effective leaders, and I've been doing that for mostly with Fortune 500. Large not-for-profits, and decided that I wanted to kind of spin that and really help our community and help the queer folks be even more awesome leaders. And that's kind of where the gay leadership dude kind of sub-brand, if you will, kind of came into play.
That's super. So you said you worked at what, Disney, Tupperware? That's great. What did you do with them or for them?
All of them were kind of the same job. I was always in like the leadership function, helping my internal clients be better at leadership, better at working with their people, providing feedback, instilling a motivational type culture, and then I really started moving into the intersection of inclusive leadership. So it's how does a leader make their team feel more welcomed and have that sense of belonging in the workplace?
Okay, so what makes a good leader?
Ooh, that's like the gazillion-dollar question in a great way, Amber. But a smart leader, when you boil everything down to it, a smart leader fosters trust within their team. And so that could be just by listening more than talking. It could be asking those open-ended questions. It could be just having that rapport with the team members, but fostering trust is the golden opportunity for any leader.
And how do you know when you've established that trust?
I think it manifests itself in a lot of different ways where, for example, when there's something that's not the way it's supposed to be, people are okay to come up and say, hey, you know what, Leader Steve, we need help here, or not hide the facts under the carpet. People will celebrate the right things. People will provide that feedback to you when even you as the leader mess up. I think those are some of the great ways that trust manifests itself in the workplace.
Very good. All right. So has things changed in leadership over the past 15 months with COVID?
It's a fantastic question. And I think it has. What you've seen is an opportunity for folks to kind of have these little tiny windows into our respective worlds. And if you were a smart leader, you leverage that. Use that as a way to build rapport with your team members and really kind of see what's going on. I mean, you can't see because I have my green screen here, but if I didn't do it, there might have been a puppy running behind me, or some of your coworkers might have kids running around because they have the things, and that's beautiful. That's beautiful. You see that authenticity within the context of the employee or the team member, and smart leaders were using that to their advantage to really build rapport and also help foster a sense of community within those that are like working via distance.
All right, give me the top 3 things a bad leader does.
Probably the first one would be micromanaging, because micromanaging undermines trust. The second one would be a not so good leader engages in what we call silent collusion. That's where someone says like a crappy remark, like, yo, women drive, and the leader doesn't refute that or doesn't defend that lets that statement slide. Great way to undermine your own trust and credibility in the workplace. And I think that the third way was kind of along the same lines as micromanaging, but not delegating a task and not letting the team member really take it and run with it. It kind of gets to that micromanaging, but it's a little bit different nuance where they're just don't have that trust for that team member to kind of do what they need to do.
All right. So you're the gay leadership dude. Do you focus on gay leadership, or are you the gay guy the straight people bring in to handle their gays?
The gaggle of gays. Yes. Yes to both, actually. So what Top Dog Learning Group does is we like I said, we deal with larger Fortune 500 companies. You can see kind of some of our fun logos here with some of the folks we've played around with, the leaders that we've focused on. And so yeah, in this case, me or, I'm the gay one on my team. I have a team of top doggers, as I like to call them. We go in and work with folks from a leadership perspective. That's kind of one half of the coin. And the other side of the coin, or the rainbow, or whatever you want to call it, is me working with LGBTQ leaders. And that's what I love to do, especially that kind of falls under that gay leadership dude, where I really want to focus on, personally, focus on developing the leadership awesomeness of our community.
All right. So you seem like a very positive, upbeat person. Yes. So are you a motivational speaker? Do you give presentations?
I do. It's funny because I've always done that type of work, but we really made a solid effort to make my keynote speaking signature talks really be awesome and come out with the book, which, pun intended, 2019 is when Pride Leadership came out. And I had all these great keynotes signed up for 2020. Womp, womp, womp. But because my doctorate's in distance learning, I was able to use this kind of technology and not only salvage those, but really blow them up. And it's been really awesome. Like this month alone, I've done, I think, like 18 signature talks, keynotes, and it's for a lot of Fortune 500s, a lot of their employee resource groups, celebrating Pride, because, hey, gay leadership dude, tick, kind of bring it in. And that's been really exciting because, my not so hidden agenda is to help make the world a bit more inclusive through the lens of leadership, whether that be a queer leader or an awesome ally. That's kind of my jam.
What's the most difficult people? Not difficult people. What's the most difficult thing that, let's say, non-gay or queer leaders have dealing with their gay, queer employees?
Yeah, one of our signature programs we do is it's kind of like a whole day program when we could go on site. Now I've turned it into a 4-part, 2-hour each concept on really understanding your own unconscious bias as a leader, really understanding that the concept of privilege or advantage, equity versus equality, some really cool items. And the challenge is when there's people who are, I like to use the term voluntold to be in the session. They aren't there willingly, but they're there and they want to play stump the teacher all the time, well, why does this matter? I saw a bunch of stuff on social media today when the gentleman came out who's playing
football player. Yes.
Yes. Who's adorable, by the way. Yay. Yeah, we got him. Yeah. But just the horrible negative comments. Why does this matter? It's like, that's the reason why it matters. And I see that in my programs as well, where you really have to sell people on, there's a reason why even you white cisgender dudes are here to be an awesome ally. Let me show you the way. And if nothing else, it makes your business better when you are inclusive. So at least come from that perspective. And usually they can get on that one.
So did you say you had a degree in long distance learning?
I do. My doctorate's in instructional technology and distance education, but I got it before distance ed was cool in 2005.
Who made that up?
Well, it's funny because distance education's been around for a long time. If you remember, and I'm dating myself, Sally Struthers selling her TV VCR repair studies over the internet or over the TV and correspondence. Correspondence courses were distance learning, just a different medium. And so you flash forward now, distance ed's been around a while. We're just using different tools and approaches to make distance learning happen.
So ding, ding, ding. This is our 67th show, and you're the first person to mention Sally Struthers.
Love being in my 50s.
All right. So tell me more about your book. Why should I buy your book?
Well, if you want to be a leader, which is Pride Leadership, Pride Leadership Strategies for the LGBTQ leaders to be the king or queen of their jungle. It's kind of a fun story how it happened. I was at a conference, actually the National Gay and Lesbian Chamber of Commerce a couple of years ago, and I'm outside of a session, kind of sorting my business cards, and there's a woman next to me kind of doing the same thing, and she's like, "What do you do?" I'm like, "Consulting, blah blah blah. How about you?" She's like, "Well, I'm a publisher." I'm like, there's a leadership book in my head. It needs to come out. She's like, let's get that book out. And so I started going down the path of writing just a kind of generic leadership book based upon what I've seen over 25 plus years. And then, I do a lot of social justice work with, just like many of us do, volunteer work, make our world more equitable. And so I'm now looking at all my queer leadership brothers and sisters doing the work. And do you remember Sex in the City, Amber?
Oh, yes.
Of course, yeah. So my inner Carrie Bradshaw went off, and it's like, I couldn't help but wonder. And it's like, I couldn't help but wonder, is there something about being a queer leader that gives you a different opportunity to exercise your leadership skills than our straight brothers and sisters? And that's kind of how Pride Leadership came about, where I argue that of the 6 leadership competencies that I talk about within the book, looking at things such as authenticity, look at leadership courage, having empathy, effective communication, building relationships, and shaping culture, we as queer people have an opportunity to exercise those a little bit differently. So if I don't know how whether people do it with green screens, by the way, it's amazing. I appreciate it. But, looking at authenticity, if I'm an out man at work, if I'm a trans person at the workplace being my authentic self, that's amazing. And how do you channel that competency to be a better leader? Same with courage. Well, gosh, if I'm an out person at work, that's already courageous. And so what does it look like that I can channel that energy to be a more effective leader? That's kind of the gist of the book.
And that is, okay. How many CEOs or large people who are up in a big Fortune 500 company are gay and lesbian?
Yeah, I wish it was more, or who are out, and that's what's the HRC study? At least in 2018, the latest was like 50% of our brothers and sisters are out at work. 50% still. Now I don't know the data with the new SCOTUS ruling from last year, but still, that's a big chunk of folks who are in the closet. And so, how can we make that happen differently if we can?
All right. So how many times a year were you leaving Florida? That's where your home base in Florida. Yes. Were you leaving to do these speeches and these commentaries or opening remarks at conferences?
Pre-COVID, it was probably about 20-ish, 25% of my time. During COVID, obviously I didn't get on an airplane, but it's been about 50% of my work in a great way. There's also we also have an 8-week online training program that goes with the book that's intended for queer leaders as well. And that's actually been getting a lot of good fun press. And it's cool because it's always been planned to be virtual. So it doesn't matter with COVID. We can all hang out as leaders, learn from each other, and then kind of go back to our virtual ways and kind of do our thing.
So tell me more about that 8-week course.
Yeah, so it's called the Lions Program, which stands for a leader's immersive opportunity to nurture strengths, because former Disney, I needed some cheeky marketing way to kind of tie it together. But the idea is it takes the 6 leadership competencies and kind of wraps it around with 2 additional modules to really focus on diving deeper into these competencies. So, module number 1 talks about, how can you build your authenticity and what are things that you can do to play with it right now and apply it. And so then you go and do some things for a week, and then you come back for the next module, which say it's courage or whatever. And it's been really fun. What I've liked about it most is the fostering of relationships that's happened, because it's a lot of people from different companies. And so they meet each other and they start to build their own queer professional network, beyond the borders of their own company. And it's just so fun to watch. And allies are loving it too, which is, my book is solid leadership theory with lots of bad dad jokes, because that's just how I roll. Because I didn't want a stuffy leadership book. They're annoying and they're boring and they're no fun and you don't remember them. So I've heard from a lot of allies who also have been in this program. They're like, that's actually fun. And it kind of gives me a little window into the queer community. I'm like, double win for you there, friend. Nice job.
All right. So you worked with these different companies, then you went out, branched out and created your own company. You wrote a book. What's next?
Well, I'm working on the next book, and technically Pride Leadership is my 3rd. I published my dissertation just so I can get the credit, quite frankly. So it's on Amazon. And then I self-published a book called Overcoming Poopy E-Learning. Several years. Thank you for laughing, Amber. That's the reaction I want.
You said poop.
I said poop on the internet. But Private Leadership was my first, working with a real publisher, a bunch of editors. It was awesome. So I'm working on the next one, which will kind kind of still be in the same genre of helping queer leaders be even more awesome. And then I do a lot of blogging and writing. I try to do a lot of podcasts and media just to kind of share the wealth. And then really working with developing some other products to really continue to foster and fan the flames of a queer leadership movement, which is, again, my not so hidden agenda.
Other products? What's
like training classes, different keynote speeches, things that can support the message of being a consciously inclusive leader out in the workplace.
All right. So you said 20%, 25% of your job was going out away from Florida to give speeches and things.
Yep.
And then you did probably a little bit more during the COVID. Which did you like better, doing it in person or like this?
So great question, Amber. And I'm going to let you in on a little secret. And so just so you know,
you don't have pants on.
I have not worn pants since March 13th, 2020. No lie. I remember the exact day. And so you too. So, but joking aside, it's been fantastic that I can reach so many people sitting here in my home office with my camera. And like I put it on social media. I did 6 keynotes just last week alone, and it was 1,800 people that I touched, so to speak. Don't call HR for that one, but I mean, that's cool. That's 1,800 people who now have some strategies to be more consciously inclusive to take into their workplaces. And you can't do that when you're physically in the space. And even if I'm doing it in front of 1,000 people at a conference, how many of them are listening? How many of them are going to apply it? So this is a little bit different story. And I like both. I get the energy from being on stage. That's fun, as I'm sure you can relate. And I do miss that a little bit, but if it's sharing the story and the message that's going to help even a fraction of those people be more inclusive, I think I like the virtual thing.
Well, that is just great. So you've done all that other stuff you have plans for. What would you want to top off your career with? Anything?
It's funny. I'm actually starting a class tomorrow to be groomed to be a board of directors executive for a company. Wherever that is. So I've been wanting to do that for a while. It's kind of the next progression of my development. And so Harvard has this program, I was accepted to it. And the goal is for minority people to bring a perspective to a board of directors. And so that's kind of where I'm working towards. So I start this class tomorrow. It's fun because I'm on the other side of the classroom for once. Usually I'm the one standing up in front. So now it's read my case studies and stuff. And ultimately I want to help really diversify the demographic perspectives in the boardroom. There's a lot of great people in there. We're slowly getting better representation, but it's slow. And as much as I love my white cisgendered older dudes, it's time for them to let the space for us others, whoever that is, to kind of come in and take the reins.
Well, I can just see in the future great things for you, Dr. Steve Yacovelli. And just with Top Dog ever needs a top bitch, give me a call. Okay?
Noted. Totally noted. I love it.
All right. Thank you so much for joining us. Love talking to you.
Thank you, Amber. Take care.
Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. And please remember to subscribe to Amber Live YouTube channel. Just push that subscribe button. And I would love to hear what you think about the video. Leave us a comment and I'll even write back to you. Thanks again. See you soon. And watch our show on Sunday nights. And tell your friends too.